Hey folks, this is Yuri Karasawa, 12 NPB team previews in 12 days. And let's get started today with the Hanshin Tigers. In 2023, they broke the curse of the Colonel, winning the Japan Series for the first time since 1985. But last year, they went 74, 63, and 6 to finish in second place in the Central League, and then they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the DNA Bay Stars. So a bit of a disappointing end to Akinobu Okada's time as manager, and now the former fireballing closer and major leaguer, Kyuji Fujikawa, is stepping into his shoes. So a new look at the helm for the Hanshin Tigers, going from one of the oldest managers in the league to one of the youngest. They had a 101 OPS plus and a 115 ERA plus. 100 is league average, so right about average offensively, but well above average in the pitching domain. And then a negative 63 defensive run saved. Not good at all. This was a strength for them 2 years ago, but they definitely took a step in the wrong direction last year. What do they do over the offseason? Couple of foreign pitchers in John Duplantier and Nick Nelson. You know, Duplantier trying to make the rotation. Nick Nelson probably going to be a relief pitcher. Both have a decent level of MLB experience. Ramon Hernandez is the one foreign hitter they bring in, you know, not to be confused with the former Major League catcher. Hernandez is a Dominican who was playing in Mexico for the last 3-4 years, actually has not reached any, major league affiliate level higher than AA, but putting up really good numbers in Mexico. So they're going to see what he can do. Taishi Kusumoto as well, coming over as a free agent from the DNA Bay Stars as a depth piece in the outfield. Notable subtractions: Koyo Aoyagi, congrats on the minor league deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. Once upon a time, this guy won a ERA title with the team. He was one of the core members of the starting rotation. Fell off the last few years, had kind of lost his place, although he still played a big role pitching in Game 7 of that 2023 Japan Series, so definitely going to be remembered fondly, but he's gone now. And then Sheldon Noisy and Johan Mieses, two other guys from that championship run that became fan favorites. Noisy, homering off Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Mieses kind of just as, a bench warmer, but a guy that definitely got the clubhouse vibes in a very good direction. 2024 NPB Draft, Hanshin also went after Yumito Kanemaru, the big left-handed pitching prospect, but they lost the lottery for him. So then they settled on Takato Ihara, a fellow southpaw out of a corporate league. So a guy who is a little bit more NPB ready on the older end, like 24, 25 years old. He should be able to contribute right away in 2025. Second round, Yuki Kesamaru was one of the top high school prospects. So, prepster who's not going to be contributing on the top team in 2025, but down the line, you can definitely see him doing some things. Rito Kinoshita in the third round is kind of a hard thrower. So a guy that, maybe gets some opportunities out of the bullpen later in the year. 2024 hitting leaders. Shota Morishita was this team's top bat last year with a 153 OPS plus. He debuted in 2023, had a bit of a rough first half, but then he turns it on in the second half, had a good playoff as well. And, 2024 was Morishita's first kind of full year showing what he can do. And it was phenomenal. 24 doubles, 16 homers in 129 games. Also hit cleanup for Samurai Japan at the Premier 12. Morishita is very much up and coming, and he should be a mainstay on this team for a long, long time. Teruaki Sato with a 139 OPS plus. A lot of people are kind of split on Sato as far as he strikes out a lot. He can be a very frustrating player even for fans to watch, but when he's right, he is an incredible talent, one of the highest power ceilings in all of NPB. Hall of Fame manager and player Alex Ramirez has always stated that he believes Sato has 40 homers in him sometime in the near future. Koji Chikamoto, 2 years ago, was a very strong MVP candidate. Last year was also solid. This is just what he does. 20 stolen bases, not too much in the power department, but just gets on base and plays solid defense, does his job, a huge kind of table-setting presence for them. Yusuke Oyama, another guy who 2 years ago was amazing. He had a 400 on base back in 2023. Big step back last year, but still above average. Then he became a free agent, so people thought maybe he's going to go over to the rival Yomiuri Giants, but no, he decides to stay put and try to deliver Hanshin another championship. Ukyo Maegawa in the outfield had a bit of a mini breakout, so he should be able to establish himself more this year as well. And Takuma Nakano at second base did not have a good year offensively, but is regarded as a good kind of table setter and defender as well. Catcher between Umeno and Sakamoto, two excellent defenders, neither of which can really swing the bat though. Hanshin are one of the few teams in the league that is very kind of, at least under Okada, they had their core pieces cemented and they didn't really change much. Shortstop was kind of the one exception between Obata and Kinami. They would occasionally move them around. 2024 pitching leaders, this was a great strength for them, and it obviously was when they won the Japan Series as well, and that carried over to 2024. Hiroto Saiki and Shoki Murakami, that is one of the best 1-2 punches in NPB. They both have some elite stuff at the top of their rotation. Saiki, last year was by far their best pitcher. Murakami 2 years ago wins Central League Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. Took a small step back last year, but still very good. And then, they have some other really good arms in the rotation as well, with the likes of Jeremy Beasley, who I think is really underrated, a nice hard thrower there that gets a lot of strikeouts. Yuki Nishi, a veteran who's had some ups and downs over the years, but really good job pitching to contact last year. Kotaro Otake, kind of a soft tosser, but has some elite command and gets the job done. And Masashi Ito a couple of years ago was really, really good. He had his worst season last year, so we'll see if he can kind of reintegrate himself. Haruto Takahashi is another one that deserves mention because he didn't meet the inning minimum here to be on this list, but he, when he's right, is one of their best pitchers as well. It's just that he's always hurt. Bullpen also incredibly strong. Ren Tomita as a rookie having a sub-1 ERA and a lower leverage capacity. We'll see if he can kind of play a bigger role in the late innings this year. Daichi Ishii, Javi Guerra, and Suguru Iwazaki, that was kind of their big three in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Last year, Iwazaki and Guerra kind of splitting time at closer. Guerra can run it up to 100 miles per hour. Iwazaki was the closer before that, so a lefty with good stuff there as well. And then Ishii just has this absolutely diabolical splitter that can make him unhittable as well. Takuma Kirishiki, also with 70 appearances, was very much towards the top of the leaderboards in all of NPB. A really kind of dependable left-handed reliever that you can throw out there a lot of the time. So the depth chart for 2025, like I said, at catcher, it is kind of this tandem of Umeno and Sakamoto. I think Hayato Nakagawa can step up and become the starter eventually. He's a much better hitter than those two, but just doesn't have the experience yet to kind of earn that job. First base will be Yusuke Oyama, and then, on the other corner, Teruraki Sato. That is, one of the better corner infield duos in Japan. Middle infield duo of Kinami and Nakano should be unchanged as well. They do have a couple of depth pieces there, like, the aforementioned Obata or Watanabe, or, maybe Hernandez steps in at third or first if Oyama and Sato are hurt. But this is a pretty cemented infield here. Outfield, Maegawa is kind of the one guy that you might be able to overtake if you're kind of a younger player like a Kota Inoue. But otherwise, Chikamoto and Morishita are locks to be starters. So again, Hanshin very much a team that knows their starters. I guess the comparison would be kind of like the Atlanta Braves in MLB, right? And a lot of these guys are just going to keep playing every single day so long as they're not hurt. In the starting rotation, Saiki, Murakami, Takahashi. I mean, what a elite big three. Beasley, Nishi, Otake, not too shabby on the back end either. And then they have guys like Ito and Duplantier that could slot in. And then these younger guys like Ihara, Monbetsu, one of their top prospects. Maybe they get a look as well. Bullpen, as I mentioned, Iwazaki, Gera, Ishii, Kirishiki. Those are kind of their big ones. But even like if you go lower down in the depth chart, like Okadome, Shimamoto as a left-handed specialist, they have a lot of depth. The Hanshin Tigers here, the pitching is just such a big strength for this team. Offense, because, guys like Sato are quite volatile and up and down. They can be really inconsistent, but when they're right, this is an above average offense, and I think the floor is high enough that they're only slightly below average, even at their worst. And then it just kind of comes down to whether or not like a lot of the little things they do, like the defense and the base running improves. Because if it does, then I think the Hanshin Tigers are still very much a pennant contender. I don't know if on paper they look as good as the Yomiuri Giants or DNA Baystars, but they're right there with them in terms of the pitching. And if a couple of things go right with like Sato having, one of his best seasons, like if Sato goes supernova, if Chikamoto and Oyama get back to where they were in 2023 and Morishita keeps getting better, then yeah, I mean, this is kind of a star-studded lineup as well. So I think the Hanshin Tigers are in really good shape under new manager Hyuji Fujikawa. Let's see what happens.